Salam Tana, Dana Yistali. Greetings, this is Rasiadonis Tafari, this is Wyndham Yad. This is Brother Yadin speaking to our brothers in the brotherhood and the sisters and the mothers, speaking to our people who are interested in what do they need to do to become more actively involved in the line of Judah society of His Imperial Majesty. What is needed of them. Now those who are conscious enough to even recognize the question, to even ask himself the question, we say, may Kedamawi Haile Selassie, in the name of Jesus Christos, bless and keep all of you, and keep your mind, keep your hearts and your minds. Those who are even conscious enough to even recognize that question. What is needed? You understand what is required of us to become active? That means they recognize the state of passiveness of as many who listen to the videos and the teachings, and this is their right, this is their choice. In other words, they can choose. You understand? One thing very important to recognize is that democracy, the so-called idea of democracy, or people's choice, or people have a right to choose for themselves, to choose their destiny. It doesn't come from any so-called Gentile worldly system such as democracy, so forth and so on. May have been exasperated by democracy, those sort of Gentile world systems, but actually true democracy. I think Steel Pulse did a song a couple of years back, maybe more than a decade back, about true democracy. I think it was an album, True Democracy. True democracy actually comes from our Godfather, and through the mercy and the grace of the Moshiach, Yehoshua. That's where true democracy, the true right of the people to choose. But we have to recognize that we will suffer the consequences of our choices if we make the wrong choices. So the first thing we need to do is to become more informed about which choices we make, you understand, and to understand the ramification of the choice. And this is what's so interesting about the scriptures. This is what's so interesting about Torah, or the Orit, as we call it, the Ethiopian Torah, or the Orit, is that when we study in the first 5 books of Muse, the prophet Moses, from Genesis to Exodus to Leviticus to Numbers and to Deuteronomy, when we study throughout the scriptures, we find that this choice has always been given to man by the Almighty God, by El Shaddai, by Hulun Chai Amlak, that He has always given humanity and His people the right to choose. What we, unfortunately, in our state of amnesia, as the lost sheep, and what the lost sheep of the Beit Israel don't really recognize, is that it's their choices, their wrong choices, that have led so-called black people, black folks, especially us in the diaspora, especially the lost Beit Israel, to this present time, both in world history and in the prophetic revelation of the King of Kings and His Christ. So it's our wrong choices and our ancestors' wrong choices, and those wrong choices that we still do out of a sense of tradition, out of a sense of some sort of respect of people and respect of certain traditions, and this is how we've always done it, and so forth and so on, blah 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 blah. That is what really continues to keep us in this astray way and off of the path of His Imperial Majesty and outside the blessings. In other words, we are still under the curses, the generational curses for disobedience. And this is what is very important at the very outset to bear in mind. So in order to lay a foundation for this teaching, becoming actively involved in the ministry, we have to touch on what is contained in that idea about active. You understand? Active and action and act. You understand? To work. You understand? To do the work. In order for one to do any sort of work, they need to be trained. They need to be given instructions. You understand? In order to be able to do any sort of work. Otherwise, they already know how to do this work, therefore they can do the work, and therefore their work will prove that they know what they're doing. But it's quite clear that when many of our people, many of us have talked about Jah works. I doing Jah works, and talk about Rastafari. We have been off track, off of the path of His Imperial Majesty. Our zeal, we've had a zeal, as the book of Romans says, that he bears us witness, our brother warrior Paulos, that we have a zeal for God, a zeal, a passion, a eagerness, a earnestness for God, but it's not according to knowledge, that he bears that witness against us. You understand? And the Almighty bears that witness as well against us. And we bear that witness against you all, that many of you all have a zeal or a passion, you understand, for His Imperial Majesty, a passion for Jesus Christos, for Getachen, you understand, for Rastafari in this revelation time. But it's not according to knowledge, it's according to ignorance. In other words, not knowing. Half of the story has not been told until now. So in addressing the question how to become actively involved in the line of Judah society, in the ministry of His Imperial Majesty, education is the key. Education is the first step. Active action. Act. Book of Acts of the Apostles provides a very good foundation. So if you turn your scriptures with me, we'll begin here, but we need to touch on what are the basic principles. I'm going to give you a couple of scriptures in the remaining time that we have in this segment of the teaching. And I would like for those who are seeking to become active in the line of Jewish society and active in the ministry of His Imperial Majesty to take down these scriptures and to look them up and to study and to pray over them and to meditate and take notes. You understand? It's very important to document your progress. It's very important, the key, to document your progress at the point that you consciously begin to progress. You may have been thinking that you've been progressing for a while, and you've been in Jah works and been Rastafari for a while, or grown your locks, so forth and so on, for a while, or so forth and so on. But if you have not documented, you really don't have any proof to really yourself, you understand, or any proof to anyone else. So we suggest that ones get a good composition notebook or a series of composition notebooks, hopefully the non-spiral bound, but whatever you have available, you can begin there. And to begin to document, take down these scriptures right here. We have a couple of scriptures that we would like to share with you at the outset in answering and addressing this question of how to become active in the LOJ, the line of Judah society, in the ministry of His Imperial Majesty. No doubt you've heard the expression before that life is like a theater, that the world is a stage and we're all actors. I believe that was William Shakespeare who said that. But our father, Haile Selassie, has told us that life is like a theater. One mustn't try to understand it all at once. Otherwise, it's no longer amusing or interesting. You understand? It's no longer amusing. Life is very amusing. You understand? We know that God has a sense of humor. In the scriptures, it shows us in Psalm 2 that while they scheme against Him, that He laughs, you understand, at their schemes, and He causes derision. Even when speaking of racism, His Imperial Majesty says that we should expose the mockery, you understand, the mockery of racism and the whole racist idea. Our point here is about life and the theater metaphor. You understand, the world being a stage and us becoming more active in the ministry of His Imperial Majesty in the LOJ society. An actor, one who does the action and fulfills the act or the work, like the worker. The actor must know the script. An actor must know what their script is. Otherwise, they're going to be upstaging other folks and they're going to be making the whole play, what is in motion, go astray. You understand, and become a comedy, in other words, of errors. So we need to learn the script. What is the script? His Imperial Majesty has laid out for us what the script is. He says, for my part, I glory in the Bible. So if we are to become actively involved, not passive, that's the audience. You see, the audience are those passive. We all begin from a passive phase, and then if we choose, you understand, if we choose those who are called, if we answer the call, those who are chosen, if we choose to do, and those who are faithful and remain faithful, this is how we gain the victory, and this is how we overcome. This is how we prevail. This is how we overcome. So in order to become more active in the LOJ Society and the Ministry of His Imperial Majesty, one must first be educated. Education is the key. One must learn the script. You understand? One must learn the scriptures. One must study and show themselves approved to God as a workman that need not be ashamed.